following content you are about to review is paid for content. The particulars of my compensation on behalf of an entity is provided in the description below. I encourage all reviewers of this content to take note of those disclaimers and to understand that the information that is passed in the following video is aimed at information and is not to be misconstrued as investing information, as there will be statements that are made based on the company's current operations as well as potential forecasts of where the company could be. Again, I encourage all investors to heed the disclaimers and disclosures provided in detail in the description below. Please enjoy. And we're excited to welcome everybody back to the Independent Investor channel. For the last couple of months, we've been chronicling a story that has been developing in Mexico, and that story has been at the hands of Oroco Resource. It has been an honor to cover this company, and Ian has become a frequent guest of the Independent Investor channel. And for you guys that are lucky enough to frequent these offerings from Ian, you're getting a valuable insight to the company and the goings-on that are happening at Oroco. You could not find this valuable of information online. So I want to take a moment and thank Ian. But before we get started here, I just want to invite all patrons to the Independent Investor channel to review the disclaimers at the bottom of this video. All opinions and all things, items discussed with regard to Oroco Resource is our opinion. We will be talking about past, present, and future. And I just want to heed all investors to do their own due diligence. This is not financial advice. This is for information only. And I think we do a really good job of paying that information forward and allowing Ian a platform to come on and discuss the exciting developments as they happen with Oroco Resource. And we were talking backstage, Ian, about the current environment right now, the geopolitical pressures, especially here in the United States with the new administration in Canada. The first 6 months of 2025 have been nothing short of remarkable. Some global conflict is spurred up, and I think any investor can agree that this 6 months has been quite a ride for investors. In the face of that, year to date, Oroco Resource is up close to 14%. And one of the things that attracted me to your story when I first looked at this, it looked like Oroco was going through a sentiment change, and a well-deserved as well. That was at the hands of a governmental changeover in Mexico as well, which I think has helped. And I think sharing your story has really helped in understanding what you guys are trying to do with Oroco. Oroco Ian is the president and director of Oroco, and we're in debt to you, Ian, for having you on the channel. I just want to welcome you and get your thoughts on the current goings-on at Oroco, and for the would-be share owners and anybody interested in the story. So, Ian, welcome. I'll kick it off with your opening thoughts.
Well, thanks very much for having me back, Ryan. And
Sure.
Yes, always good to chat about the sort of macro environment, but then to dive in on Oroco and what it is we're principally trying to achieve, which is to advance a copper project, a very large mining opportunity in Northwest Mexico. And I think a number of the people who follow I-Square will be aware of our principal thesis.
That's right.
The most exciting thing of late has been the news release we've just put out, announcing that we've engaged Whittle Consulting Limited. And this is exciting. It's been in development actually for a very long time. I first took a Whittle optimization course shortly before the outbreak of COVID. And over the years since, a number of our employees have taken their online course training And we've really been looking forward to the appropriate time to engage with Whittle on the Santo Tomas project. And I think they too have remained very vigilant around what we've been doing and remained informed. And we think the time to commence what is a strategic option study is now. And the reason for that is we're preparing for a pre-feasibility study. We're coming off last year's PEA. We learned a lot about the project in preparing for that preliminary economic assessment. We made some assumptions. We chose some methods. We scaled the project in collaboration with engineering consultancies and our own team, and put that PEA out. But we think it's now appropriate to step back a little, do the strategic options study, perhaps make the thinking that we're doing a little more divergent, look at possible trade-offs, look at things we perhaps didn't consider in sufficient detail in the PEA. Really step back, think more broadly, go to 60,000 feet again, contemplate which things might work better together. So it's a sort of step back in a sense before we step forward into the PFS, the pre-feasibility study. And to really have some of that third-party experience, the guys who are doing this optimization work for operating mines, expansion projects, new projects at all scales, because they're very connected with some of the trade-offs, including, for example, new technologies, electrification of mine fleets, and things that our project team perhaps doesn't have the same breadth of experience with. So this is, I think, a very opportune moment to just pull more experience in, incorporate this wealth of experience. But the critical thing with Whittle is they do this, they look at all the trade-offs, they test the potential hypotheses and changes in a link to a discounted cash flow model. It's a semi-real-time link. And so it's processing of multiple variables simultaneously. They have over 300 very powerful computer cores linked to just run this mathematical process that enables us to look at those trade-offs and see the impacts on the project's value almost in real time. So we believe the time is now to do that piece of work. It's going to run through into September, October. Results will come through that period. This is not something that will culminate in a fundamental release of a detailed report. That is not what this will do. This will help us properly scope the PFS as we prepare to kick that off and make sure that we're leaving none of the trade-offs that should be in the PFS unscoped, to make sure that sort of all the no stones left unturned as to what we should pay attention to through the PFS. And so we believe that is going to make the PFS more robust, hopefully, more complete in terms of its considerations.
Yes, sir.
It will also make sure that as we mobilize to do PFS prep drilling, geotech drilling, hydrological drilling, that there are none of those small areas that we should pay attention to left unscoped. So, all project teams have their picadillos, their preferences, etc. This is an attempt to have a neutral party advise on where the value will be delivered on the PFS. So we think the timing is now. We're thrilled with the engagement from Whittle. They have looked forward to helping us with Santo Tomas. Folks in North America will know Raziel Zisman. He has remained in touch with me every quarter since I took the course, which I did along with Craig Diel, our chairman, on when would be appropriate to kick this work off. So we're thankful for their patience and their engagement and helping us adjudicate when the maximum value could be derived from doing this piece of work. So I'm thrilled, and the team is, and our engagements with Whittle and their technical team over the last week or two as we've prepared leaves me really quite pumped up and excited about the work we're about to embark on. So, yep, we're thrilled and can't wait to see what it teaches us, which is what the purpose is, right? To learn what we might do with this project to improve it, make it more valuable, and capture recent technological innovation in mining globally.
Yeah, it sounds like a real value added proposition. As a share owner in Oroco, for me, it's really encouraging that you guys are taking all steps to bring in that. I called it the third party perspective. I think that's a fair deal, and it's really cool. You guys are excited to engage in this. So we're thinking around September for you guys to kind of look to wrap up your engagement as it lends itself to the PFS, which is really the key in making sure that product is generated, having unturned all stones, really. And we were talking backstage about, you guys with your wealth of experience in mining only see what it is that you see, and you only deploy, I guess, your own personal biases. And sometimes that can come back a little bit to say, you look at each other, are we doing the right thing, guys? And I think this really helps to bring in that third party. Well, that's going to be excellent. So in the interim, what exactly does that mean? I mean, I mentioned the year-to-date performance in the stock, Ian. It looks like you guys have gained a little dabble of favor in the market, which I'm satisfied with. This project with Oroco, I don't want to speak for other share owners. I can speak for myself. The Oroco project for me is actually fairly simple to understand, and what you guys are looking to do is fortify the project. So how is it that you see this project lending itself as we enter into the back half of 25? And let's just talk from a perspective of maybe post September, going into the holiday and entering into 2026 as an Oroco share owner.
Mm-hmm. Well, the engagement of Whittle keeps our team engaged technically and in this sort of review of the strategic potential. So that's great. It gives me, Andrew Ware, our QP, Richard, and the technical team on site something to really sink our teeth into. So I think it's good in the background in that sense. It does get us ready for that PFS that we discussed. And I think we'll see the major findings in September and into October. And this will tee us up, I think, for fully scoping the PFS. So I think those are good. In the interim, we have continued the political engagement, which you've followed and been aware of.
Very much.
We most recently saw a statement coming from the president in Mexico that there will be a by-case consideration of mining projects. There will not be just a blanket mandate to move all mining projects forward. And so in that regard, we're in the process of becoming filed with the designated project registry, which is part of Plan Sinaloa and the overarching Plan Mexico that the president has as her, mandated wish to grow the economy in Mexico. And as far as we can tell, that is moving forward steadily and somewhat aggressively. And so to be part of that is wonderful.
Beautiful.
And so we have recently filed a second draft of our project description with all its options and social and environment, etc. considerations. And there may be a need to update that. We'll see. We're engaged with the political process in the background. So That too is an ongoing project that we expect will shortly have us on that registry.
Yeah.
And then there will be an expectation from the community, from the state, and from the federal representatives who've engaged with us that we'll begin to move this project forward into PFS, into environment baselining, and start walking forward as an enterprise that intends to be developed in one way or another on a reasonable time frame. And so that's what this is teeing us up to do. And Ryan, getting this assistance from Whittle, we will be very engaged with them. They are going to continue to educate us on their process, and we are going to do everything we can to be part of the technical and trade-off reviews, etc. So, I think it's going to be a fairly busy and very exciting summer into the fall, when we will, I hope, crystallize the PFS scope, the means to execute the PFS, meaning to go into the market and finance the company, and so be ready to have an exciting late part to 2025 and hopefully a way more exciting 2026 to boot. So that's what this is about, and why getting this engagement announced and crystallizing its scope is so exciting. I'm thrilled.
It is.
And we're really looking forward to this. Just, really, really thrilled.
That's a truncated time frame, if I'm hearing you correctly. I guess on the onset of the interview, I understood engaging in this would take a few months, and then the PFS would take a few months. But it sounds like, and we talk about the timing of this, you're really looking for these things to kind of converge at that right moment. I guess in my mind, I was thinking we're looking at 2026, and anybody who understands the mining industry, it doesn't happen overnight. And I think for those share owners out there who may be looking at this and maybe exercising a little bit of impatience, I guess this really adds a lot of color, Ian, for what you guys are trying to do and inevitably move to in your timing and the decision making and what you're trying to do to bring them on, and then PFS all within the confines of 2025. That's really exciting.
Agreed. And that is the aspirational goal, to fully scope and prepare for a PFS this calendar year, so that we maximize 2026 in terms of getting work done in the fields, preparing baseline surveys for the environmental, etc. So we're scoping all of that, and presently also doing some work on environment preparation, permitting preparation, in particular how that will operate in the sort of new dispensation that is mining in Mexico. So, we've just had Canada Day. We've put up a little blog for that, and refer people to that, just again as a bit of a discussion there about where we believe we fit in respect of the recent announcements by Ms. Sheinbaum in Mexico regarding mining. So none of what she said was a surprise to us. It's a very, very consistent and coherent theme that we have heard since we really began our engagement specifically with the Congress, the Secretariat of the Economy at the federal level, and with the state. So, it's exciting. That environment is crystallizing for us. It hasn't changed since our first engagements in March, and is now basically repeated from the president herself. And we're pulling everything together as sort of expeditiously as we might to prepare to move this project forward and to do substantial work next year.
It's beautiful. what Ian's talking about for you guys that are new to the Oroco story, I want to invite you to the website. You can see the ticker symbol on the screen. I made sure that that was up front for you guys. Is in fact the sentiment shift. Okay. Now you mentioned March. Ironically, February of 2025 is where the stock bottomed. Okay. And we found some really good performance off of the bottom. Again, on an aggregate year to date, up 14%. I mentioned that, but I think that sentiment shift and you providing that update for share owners like myself to understand that that positive reception that you guys are getting is still intact and is fortified with your ongoing conversations is just huge. I mean, your efforts are going to be for naught if you are not well received. And I think that the local municipality, it's really going to be fun when this really does open up the envelope there locally for the project. I think for what it means for those local inhabitants of the area to see this project kind of come to fruition and actually start to really turn back its value there locally is going to be huge for you guys. I really do. So thank you for that color. Ian, is there anything else that's going on that you want to report out direct to share owners now? I could talk to you forever. We're getting down to the final minutes here in your update of Oroco, but anything you feel like we've missed here in this update?
Ryan, I think we've covered the context of today's news release. Hopefully we'll have a little more news in the not too distant future, and perhaps at that point we can get together and sort of drill down into that. I'm quite content, I think, that we've sort of discussed the political stuff in the news recently and what I believe to be the significance of engaging Whittle.
I think for me, what I take out of this, Ian, in summary, is you guys are adding the value proposition now. And as it lends itself a couple months down the line as a patient share owner, I will be eagerly standing by for those updates. And when they happen, they happen. And any investor needs to understand that, things do take time, but these interviews provide an insight that you guys are really working hard. You really are. And I think you guys in the management need to be commended for your efforts. I think discussing the timing of what you're trying to do with a lot of moving parts, Ian, the mind doesn't go anywhere, but the moving parts surrounding what you guys are trying to do is quite dynamic. And I think this back half of 2025 is going to be an honor to cover for you guys. And I'm glad to do it. I really am. I'm really rooting for you guys, and we'll be standing by here to continue to convey the exciting news that you've got going on at Oroco Resource Corp. Guys, I want to invite everybody to the website. Check out the story. The June investor presentation is there for your review if you're unfamiliar with the story. A lot of fantastic information on Oroco Resource. Just check out their website. It's absolutely fantastic. On behalf of the investors, the Independent Investor Channel, Ian, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and updating us on the goings-on at Oroco Resource.